What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Game Mechanics, episode 20. Today we'll be taking a look at Curse of the Dead Gods. We're going to go over the core mechanics, and also we're going to go over the unique mechanics as well. The first unique mechanic with this game is that you have a Discord connection, so you can stay in touch with your live chat. One other core mechanic is that this game does feature autosave, so you don't have to manually save your progress. So the other core mechanic is that you can move around in 360 degrees, and it's not turn based, so you can move as much as you want. And you can see that you have your primary weapon or primary item, and then you have your secondary weapon or item that you can select from, and they're both hotkeyed to a specific key. For example, the torchlight is hotkeyed to the left click of your mouse, and then your secondary inventory is hotkeyed to number 2, I think. And then here you can see that you have 3 tiers to work with, and they're color coded. Okay, so this mechanic of light and darkness works like this. Light reveals hidden traps, and standing in darkness increases all damage you take plus 50%. Um, Watch out for the indicator at the bottom of your screen to know if you stand in the light or in the darkness. So, to play this game properly, you would have to know when to use your torch and when not to use it. So to go into more details on how the torch works is that you can either use your mouse scroll wheel to go down first and then scroll up with the mouse wheel. Then later you finish it with a left mouse click. So the way the torch works is that once you equip it by switching stance, you can use your attack action to attack with it. The torch can spread fire to blazers or enemies. So this means like with one swing of the torch, you can attack multiple enemies at once. Also, elements on fire spread light around. Let's go over the dodge and stamina mechanics. It's hot keybind to the spacebar, and once you use your dodge action, it can quickly used for a roll and evade enemy attacks or traps. And each dodge requires one of your stamina points. So stamina points is kind of like um, your currency that needs to be used in order to perform that action. So once the stamina points are deducted, it will be visible at the feet of your character. Once stamina is depleted, you cannot dodge anymore. So the stamina does have a threshold, and once you stop attacking or dodging for a short time, you can actually quickly replenish your stamina. If you look to the upper left of your screen corner, you can see that you have your objectives. Objectives are categorized by a primary number and a secondary number, and so on. Yeah. So the other unique mechanic is that you can customize your hot keybinds keys or controller. This is in case if you feel like a key or button is too far or too near. This way you can have a more comfortable gaming experience. So let's go over the mechanics of advanced combat. To initiate advanced combat, you can either hold down the left mouse click for the main attack, or you can hold down the secondary attack, which is your right mouse click. So holding down the main attack for a while, then releasing it will trigger a charged attack, and that comes at the expense of using one stamina point. But if you hold the secondary attack for a while, then release at the perfect time, it will trigger a more damaging perfect shot. You can also chain your secondary attack after a series of main attack to trigger a unique offhand combo, and that requires one stamina point. And now let's take a look at the example of more objectives being completed. So you can see that you can play any fight style you want, be it mild or aggressive. Let's get in more into the advanced defense and perfect dodge. Advanced defense and perfect dodge requires you to use the spacebar. So once you use your dodge action, you can actually evade enemy attacks. But if you use it in the case of successfully evading an enemy attack, would trigger a perfect dodge, which requires only one stamina point. So the way the advanced defense parry works is that you use whichever key or button is hotkey bind to make that function. To use your parry action at the very last moment, you can counter an enemy attack. But if you use it successfully, you can weaken the enemy, and that will take more damage for a short time, but it will restore 2 stamina points. And I believe that's a kind of like a trade-off. So the one mechanic that I didn't like was that it's kind of hard to steer the trajectory of your attack. It can get frustrating over time. If the steering of the trajectory had a cogwheel feel to it, then I think the game would be much easier to play. After you complete a level, you would be acquiring these little things known as crystal skulls and jade rings. The way the crystal skulls work is that there are powerful artifacts you can collect from fallen enemies. Crystal skulls are bound to your character and persist even after death. Between each exploration, you can trade crystal skulls in the underworld in exchange for permanent upgrades. The way the Jade rings work is that they are gifts from the dead gods to those who overcome the trials of the temple. Jade rings are bound to your character and persist even after death. After each exploration, you can trade Jade rings in the underworld to gain access to new gear. The way to read the map and how it works is that you can see which key or button is hot keybind to use the map. Um, these places are known as temples and they're assembly of rooms linked together. Each room type represents the main reward you can expect to find in it. Each time you complete a room, you can choose your path and progress through the temple. You can use the map action during your exploration to consult the temple layout. Let's get specific about the greed kills. After defeating an enemy, the greed kill timer starts. You can chain your kills together to increase your greed kill count and the amount of gold released by enemies. Hitting your enemies perfect dodges or parries refill the timer. Greed kill series reset if the timer drops off or if you take damage. This game does require you to use patience and some strategic planning. So you've got your inventory. This is where you can select and adjust your loadout, and you got three boons that are color coded. You got your red for health, and blue for damage, and then green for treasure's fine. Your loadout adjustment is going to include weapons, relic, and corruption. So you've got this thing called the Basteri that's part of your codex and also your statistics. The way the Basteri works is that it records all your progression throughout the game, such as main objective, that be categorized into how many enemies you have defeated, and they're separated by uh, types of animals like jaguar, eagle, serpent, and pantheon. Um, So you have your Basteri track record. That's gonna record your record of how many enemy types you have slain, and you can see that it has a primary category, and then you have a subcategory for specific types of enemies. So let's go over the statistics that's part of your codex. And that's going to include your record of progression of explorations, Basteri, Underworld, your total playtime, number of explorations, your amount of victories you have achieved, how much defeats you have achieved, and how much crystal skulls and jade rings you have amassed. You can also track your combat records and your resource record, and you can also track the deaths of your enemies. Let's take a look at how we attack our enemy and how that affects our corruption gauge. So right before you enter a new map area, you can see that your corruption would reach a threshold point. And now let's take a look how that works. And over here you can see which enemy has the ability to curse you and cause you to be more corrupt. Let's see an example of greed kill over here. Whenever you're fighting aggressively against your enemies, that's when you can acquire a greed kill score. You have two types of offerings. One is gold offering, and the other one is blood offering. So when you interact with a weapon, relic, or attribute's altar, you can make an offering to the gods to claim one of the three presented boons. With the gold offering, you can spend it on anything that uses gold currency. If you buy something that costs a blood offering, you can get it for free at the cost of some corruption. Um, Increase your treasure find. And sometimes you can buy two boons at once, but only. So you're wondering what boons is. Boons is what going to boost your performance in the game, such as giving you max health or dealing more damage to your enemies. And here's some extra details on how the corruption works is that once you're cursed each time and you fill your corruption gauge, you are cursed. Curses add modifiers to the classic game rules and last until the end of the run. Be aware that the fifth and final curse for it will strongly jeopardize your chances of success. And that concludes our video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe.